Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and obviously in the Pokemon TCG, there's been some pretty big stuff happening lately, notably the new expansion Journey Together and Rotation. And obviously, there's always new stuff happening in the Pokemon TCG with new cards being revealed, new sets, all that fun stuff. And that's still happening now with the new Japanese expansion being revealed, and cards within that set, the Glory of Team Rocket, which is going to be making up the international expansion, Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals is a really, really cool set that I think is going to be kind of insane. We obviously, I just said we got Journey Together. Journey Together is not the biggest set for a main set. I mean, it's like okay. I mean, it's just a cool set and stuff. And it introduced trainers Pokemon, and it had four trainers. But Destined Rivals has seven, and it has seven, but it has one of those is the Rockets Pokemon. This is made up of I think it's three sets in Japan as opposed to like one or two from Journey Together. So it's bigger and it's going to have a lot of trans Pokemon, including the Rocks Pokemon, which are just going to have a ton of cards. I believe it's 45 cards. Here it says, yeah, 40, over 45 Team Rockets Pokemon, 85 Trainers Pokemon, 240 cards. I don't remember if the 240 number is the number for the set with the like overnumbered cards or without it. Yeah, it looks like that's a promo, so I'm not sure. But anyways, it's a big set, which is really cool. And then some special illustrations and lots of things. 83 new cards tagged as Team Rockets. I'm not exactly sure what that means versus the 45 Team Rockets Pokemon. It's trainers. We're not going to see like an extra 40 Rockets trainers. But anyways, the Rocket stuff is what we're going to be focusing on today, as well as some other stuff. But this is pretty insane. That's just what I wanted to say. Some of this stuff we're going to be looking at is a little. We're going to take a look at this image and dive into this, but we obviously can't see all the text. But I think I kind of know what's behind this, and so I'll be talking about that. There were some cards that are actually like fully revealed, so we can see the full image. But I do want to start with that. Actually, I should probably start with the Rockets Energy card, which we already saw. And this, let's see, is it this link? I don't know. Oh yeah, it is. So this card, there's some cool trainers. I think the Rocket stuff. What I said, if you didn't hear me before in my previous video, I said that the Rockets Pokemon that we saw so far kind of bad. Outside of maybe the Team Rockets Mewtwo EX, which has absurd HP. I mean, it's the highest HP we've ever seen on a um, basic EX like this, so that's really good. But its attacks not very special. It's okay, but just not super easy to use, especially with this ability, which is actively bad. I mean, it means you can't really attack. So you need to synergize it with better Team Rockets Pokemon, which we don't really see. Some are okay, some are bad. But then we have the trainers, which are good, and then we have the trainers, which are good within the Rockets deck, and then the Team Rockets Energy. This card is really important, and it says it can only be attached to a Rockets Pokemon and be used on that. But then as long as it's attached to a Pokemon, it provides 2 in any combination of Psychic and Darkness Energy. One thing that I knew that we were going to be getting more Rockets Pokemon, Team Rockets Pokemon, is because we haven't seen any Darkness Team Rockets Pokemon. Obviously, they probably want to tie that in some way, but we do see some Team Rockets Pokemon as the pre-release promos, which is interesting. There's 7 trainers, and only 3 of them are getting pre-release promos. It's supposed like they could have done 4, so that's interesting, but whatever. So we see 2 Team Rockets promos mostly, or kind of. We see them somewhat. Let's start off with the Team Rockets Mimikyu, which I think is better. I'm going to assume its HP is 70. Mimikyu, it's technically, it's Rockets, or Team Rockets Mimikyu, but, it's Mimikyu. They've all had 70 HP. I was going to say, I can't remember when it hasn't. Well, okay, we've had, like, EX and stuff, but those are different. So, presumably it has 70 HP. You want it to have 70 HP, so it's Buddy Buddy Pop and Searchable, and at the highest HP of which it is, so that would be good. And then you have your attack here, which says for one colorless, it's something, I don't know, the attack name, Gemstone, Stone, something. Choose one of your points active, something, and use it as this attack. I'm not 100% sure what this says. I'm going to get really into this actually right now. This is very similar to Mew EX. Oh, I should not search up Mew because then it shows all of these cards. But Mew EX is a card, is a Pokemon with an attack called Genome Hacking. Oh, here it is. And it says, choose one of your points active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. We see it's very similar wording here. Choose one of your points at presumably active. But we see slightly different text alignment here. The N in opponents. So the first one is above the K versus it's not here. So there's, I think, another word here. And this line, now that I'm looking at it, I think it's and I didn't realize this before recording, but now I think Gemstone, it might be Terra. Choose one of your opponent's active Terra Pokemon's attacks and use this attack. Terra Pokemon are still very good. It could just be copying any Pokemon's attacks. I'm not really sure. I actually haven't really seen people talk about it. I've seen some people talk about it, but there's probably more stuff out there. So I don't know. If people know what this is, then or have a good idea, then tell me. But anyways, I think it's good. I think this is actually really good. It's one energy attachment for the Team Rocket's energy, and it's two otherwise, which is still very payable. I think this Pokemon is going to be really nice. It's pre-release promo, so generally these are going to be good cards. Not necessarily amazing cards, but cards with serious potential. It'd actually be kind of weird if it's like Terra Pokemon. There aren't even any Terra Pokemon in the set. That's why I'm hesitant to say it's that. But thematically, Gemstone stuff, that makes sense. Um, and then, like, look at like Ethan's Typhlosion, Mrs. Gyarados. These are okay cards. So not super strong cards, but the cards with some level of potential. And the Rocket stuff has a lot of support. So I think this card is going to be amazing. I'm calling it now. I don't know what it is, obviously, but I think it will be really good, or at least have a ton of potential. Then we have Team Rocket's Tyranitar. We obviously don't know too much about it. We can kind of read its ability here, sand something during Pokemon checkup. Presumably, if this Pokemon is the active, put 2 damage counters, maybe on each of your opponent's basic Pokemon, something like that. Maybe each basic Pokemon. This, seems like a mediocre ability, not like bad. It actually reminds me a bunch of the Flygon from what said this from Boundaries Crossed. This card is like okay, or no, this card is pretty good, and it like if it's the active damages stuff, kind of reminds me of Frostlass. These cards are like fine. I mean, Frostlass is good, I guess, but it's certainly not the strongest card. It's good, but not at the highest level. And this is a stage 2. Its attack cost is fighting colorless. It does presumably some decent amount of damage, and then discredit energy, I imagine from your opponent's active, we'll just say. Maybe it's from itself, but anyway, this is expensive unless it's doing 330. Even if it's doing 330, I don't think it's that good. I think this card's, kind of bad. Unfortunately, we can't see like half of the card. It's much harder to tell what this is saying than the Team Rocket's Mimikyu, but I still think this card's weaker. I want to give my analysis because I thought I could give a decent analysis despite not seeing all of the card. But yeah, the Team Rocket's Mimikyu I think is really good, and I think it's one of the best cards we've seen, although we haven't seen it all the way. Best cards we've seen from the set. Then we have some other Team Rocket's Pokemon. Team Rocket's Ampharos line. This card's kind of cool, and it says actually it's like kind of cool for Cube. Oh, and that's blurry as well. But it's a card that says with its ability Darkest Impulse. Whenever your opponent plays into a Pokemon from their hand to evolve one of their Pokemon during the turn, they put 4 damage counters on that Pokemon. Shout out to whoever said that they should like reprint Potown. That's like similar, right? Yes, it's pretty similar. So that's kind of fun, and it doesn't stack. This seems fine. It's a stage 2. Like it doesn't actually seem super easy to set up, but it's like a good ability, right? Like it's good. I don't really think it's gonna have a spot in the game. Also, it is Ampharos, so if you're thinking about this in like another format, some format with say the Flaffy, right, from Evolving Skies, a really good card. It doesn't evolve from that, right? So this is still, I think, an interesting card. Not the strongest, but not terrible. The other Team Rocket's Pokemon are, as I said, pretty bad. So this one is, like, I think, better than a lot of them, to be honest. It's not super strong. It's not super easy to attack with, but it's okay. Some interesting elements to it. If you can splash it in, then I think it's pretty good. It's going to be kind of awkward to get into play, but I would not be shocked if there are ways to get the Rocket's Pokemon into play easier. I don't believe there are so far. I really don't remember a lot of okay, there's not much to see with these, so it doesn't look like there is a way to do that right now, but I think this card has a little bit of potential, though don't expect it to be super good. Then we have the Team Rocket's Wobbuffet. This card is pretty cool. This one has the attack Mirror move for Psychic Colors. Again, just one energy attachment of the Team Rocket's energy, which I will say, when talking about like it's one energy attachment of this special energy, you obviously can only play 4 copies of that. You're not always going to have the special energy. It's generally not really feasible to search it out. It might be, but it's usually not that easy. So you need to account for it being like kind of 1 energy, kind of 2 energy, like Trapghost EX, free rotation with double turbo energy is 1 energy, but you don't always have the energy, so sometimes you're kind of flailing around trying to look for the energy, and you're sacrificing maybe a lot of resources to get it, or you just don't end up getting it at all. So Do keep that in mind. This is really all the rocket stuff is cheaper, but it's not always cheaper. But you can do the stack, which is move all damage cards from one of your bench for Team Rocket's Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon. This, I believe, is the we've seen cards like this before. Um, this is kind of like this Wobbuffet, the single strike Wobbuffet, but damage cards. Oh, this one does not move them. So there have been cards like this. This one moves all damage from no, it just puts the damage counters on. It doesn't move them. This is obviously better to move them. It's like healing. There have been some attacks like this. I can't remember exactly what's, exactly the same or essentially exactly the same, not just Rocket stuff. But this is good. It heals. Obviously, yeah, I talked about Team Rocket Mewtwo EX, really the probably the poster child of the set. Again, it's not super strong except for its HP. Its HP is insane. You could just stick this in the active. You could put a Bravery Charm on it. It has 350 HP. And then you can retreat it using Latias EX into the Team Rocket's Wobbuffet and just use this. And then I think Team Rocket's Wobbuffet plus Team Rocket's Mimikyu. Again, we do need to. Oh, apparently here it is. We need to kind of know what this fully does, but I think it's at least going to be a one of in Team Rocket's decks. It could be like a main attacker, but probably one. We'll see what it is. But this card can be, I think, a legitimate deck focus, which is something kind of rare for these types of cards because I mean, Team Rocket's V2X is like decently tanky. It doesn't really survive hits from Charizard EX, which is not ideal. That you don't survive that. You'll survive from Dragapult though, but Dragapult's like there's a lot of stuff going on with that, including the fact that you can kind of counter with psychic stuff, and the fact that they're also doing bench damage, so it gets kind of weird. But anyways, Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX is a card that its tankiness is good, but it can be knocked out. Raging Bull EX can knock it out pretty consistently, I feel like. Not all the time, but generally, and they probably won't attack you if they're not knocking you out. It's like something they can do or they can choose not to do in general gameplay, but now that there's a big downside, they're definitely not going to do it. So overall, Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX can be used as a tank for the Team Rocket's Wobbuffet play, which I think is okay. Setting up a single prizer as your attacker, and you're kind of like tanking and stuff, or as the Pokemon getting knocked out, you are leaving the two prizes in the active to get hit, but that's kind of part of the game plan. I don't think this is super strong. You're using this Pokemon. We'll see knocked out all the time. The Team Rocket's Wobbuffet, and it's using special energies, which is kind of awkward. But overall, I think this is decent. I don't think I said it can be a deck builder round. I personally wouldn't put it in that role. I put it as like a secondary attacker, maybe even like a third attacker. But I think it's a really, really solid card with a really fun attack with good synergy with the Rocket stuff we've seen so far, notably the Team Rocket's Mewtwo. Then we have Cetitan EX. The next two cards are not Team Rocket's Pokemon. They're from the expansion, the Japanese expansion, The Glory of Team Rocket, and in Destined Rivals, but they're not Team Rocket's Pokemon. Got Cetitan EX with 300 HP on a stage 1, which is obviously good. Proceeded on Caledon EX, which is a very strong Pokemon, partially because of its high HP. But then you have the ability, whenever your opponent plays an item or supporter from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to this Pokemon. This could stop boss orders or any type of card like that, including Counter Catcher and Prime Catcher, which is nice. So presumably they won't be able to gust you up, though they could using Double. And they could Iron Bundle, but you have control over that, so that probably won't work. Anyways, it's a nice ability. Abilities like this, in my opinion, from what I've seen, usually aren't amazing. They're not super meaningful. They can be nice in games, but I wouldn't build around like we just let's just talk about its HP. Pretend it doesn't have an attack. Let's talk about like tanking with Team Rocket. So B2 EX, you could tank with this. You could give it like damage reduction using something. I don't remember the card name. It's like something band or belt. Or something like that. I really don't remember the name. Rigid Band, there we go. Giving you essentially the same HP as the Mewtwo EX. You could tank, then switch to the rest. It does have 4 retreat. You need like an actual switch, and then you're not using Turret Scenario, because if you're using Turret Scenario, then what's the point of sitting on the bench, right? You don't have the damage on you anymore. We can use switch. That's like something you can do, and that's fine enough. If you get actually hit all the way down to 30 or less, I bet there are a lot of people who play this card all the time that forgot. Rescue Board is a card that normally gives 1 less retreat, but if you're down to 30 HP or less, it is free. So theoretically, in a deck like this, you could try to get value out of it. It's niche, but it's a thing. Anyway, you could do that, then like retreat to the bench. Your opponent will really struggle to knock you out unless they're spread, in which case they might have um, really easy way to do that, like Monkey to Warrior Dragapult EX. But we'll ignore that for now, which is it's a thing that exists, but it's certainly not all the time. That's cool. Your attack unfortunately isn't super good. It's 4 water, or no, 3 water and a colorless, but so 4 energy. It is 140 or 280 if you discard a stadium in play. It's not that hard to discard a stadium in play. You can certainly build your deck to do that without hurting it much, but the biggest issue with this card obviously is, or the attack is the high attack cost, and the ability is good, but it could be better. I guess. I mean, it's not really a build around ability, in my opinion. This card's decent though. It has HP. It has like decent stats. Outside that, like, well, it does, decent damage, high HP. An interesting Pokemon against it, or I don't think it's good enough. There are also other good or decent Cetitan. There's one that was played in Zoroark, because I think the main attacker, and Zoroark, or no, Zoroark from Evolving Skies, which was, I don't think there was that much overlap, and rotated a while ago, over a year ago, or I guess like a year ago. And so the Titan obviously hasn't rotated. It's a Gen 9 Pokemon, so Titan EX could be played or that. There's some interesting ideas, but I just don't think it's quite good enough. And then we have one more card to look at here. And that card is the Zamazenta, again from the set. Though it is obviously, again, not a Rocket's Pokemon, as I said, or Team Rocket's Pokemon, but from that same set. And it has, also, this is the most recent card revealed, so hopefully nothing has been revealed since then. But anyways, you could do 70 for 3, one of which is colorless, 2 which are metal. During your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, put damage counters on the attacking Pokemon equal to the damage done to this Pokemon, which reminds me of the Wobbuffet Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX combo, which is like kind of cool. This is okay. I mean, you could definitely take a knockout with 70. There are lots of Pokemon to knock out. They're probably not whatever your opponent has in the active at the point in which you have 3 metals on this, using presumably like Archaludon EX or Tang. So it's not the easiest and best thing to get working, but I think it's okay as an attacking option within these metal decks. It's like pretty different than the other Zamazenta, which was played some, I guess. I'm not, I didn't really play that Zamazenta or see it that much, but I saw it from time to time. I guess it was played in Dialga, not really played in Archaludon, but it's a card that, has good damage output. This also has good damage output. The Zamazenta, if you're hit into, but your opponent might be able to gust around it or do anything like that, like an Iron Bundle or whatever. So I think Zamazenta is a card that is interesting and not a terrible card. It has some level of potential, though I think it's less interesting than some of these others, but not horribly uninteresting either. Overall, though, I think the Rocket stuff, the Team Rockets package/deck, is becoming something that could be really good. We've seen like half the cards so far or something, so I think it could be insane if we see the right stuff, which I think we will. I think the stuff outside of the Team Rockets Mewtwo EX is just not stuff that they're really trying to hype up that much. Maybe they are. Maybe these are gonna end up being disappointing, but I think I have hope for them. At first, I thought they were cool, but like not great, and I thought they were really bad, but now I think they're pretty good. But tell me down below what you think. What do you think about the set as a whole as well? If you're really excited for it, because I am. Obviously, we just got a bunch of new stuff, so this is looking into the future a bit. But I hope you enjoyed. Consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all that good stuff. And as Mike said, see you in the next video.